all want to make great memories of our time in canyons and be able to share effectively the experiences that we have in them. But it's a challenge because canyons are wet, full of hard surfaces, and other safety factors that we're already dealing with. We're looking for solutions to a few specific problems. One is that we can never compromise safety. We need some hands-free solutions for when we're on rappel. In terms of optics, we want a very wide angle in canyons because the environment is so tight and it's hard to show very much in there otherwise. We would like to have some decent low light performance. We definitely need some kind of water resistance in our gear. We want to be able to pull things out and put them away and take our pictures and videos with speed. And we want some reach so that we can see around the corners, into the cracks and holes, over the edges without too much work, and again, without compromising safety. Let's start with what everybody is probably using already, your smartphone. I've been surprised by how few people are willing to take these into a canyon without a case on them. I find the cases bulky and slowing things down quite a bit, and also compromising because of the coverings on them, the optical quality of the images. So I use no case. I have not used a case in probably 10 years with a smartphone, and I haven't had any of them be water damaged. Unless the screen is cracked, most of the more modern phones are rated to a degree that can handle everything, including the kind of cliff jumping into water, at least in my experience. So they can take the environment. You can buy leashes online that work great for this, but I made my own from a couple of carabiners I ordered off Etsy, a little bit of pretty skinny bungee cord tied with a couple of poacher's knots in it on these carabiners, and then just a small rectangle of Dyneema fabric. Nylon will probably work, although you'd want it to be a little more fat and tough down through here. But something that can be laid flat and then has a little tab that sticks out and can be clipped onto. This works real simply. Some of you are probably using these already. But you pop your phone out of your case, you feed this up through, you unroll it about like that, so that now this is going to get trapped beneath your phone. Snap the phone back into place. It's now in there in a way that is quite hard to pull out once the case is on there. And here's your leash. Okay, you could probably make it also with a non-elastic cord. And then this clips to my pack. And now I know I'm not going to lose my phone if I drop it on a cliff or into a crack or into some horrible stinking pothole. Most of the time I'm going to carry this phone. If I have it attached to that leash, I'll do it upside down so that the leash can all fit in here and I can have both at the same time. But it's going into this kind of case. All right, you can buy these things on Amazon. I like the kind that have that plastic buckle because it snaps in and you know that it is going to be safe. I've used Velcro ones before. I found those didn't feel super secure, especially coming in and out of water a lot. This, I know, this is staying shut. It provides a little bit of cushioning. Phone feels very safe there. I've never had a problem with that. And the best part is it's easy to get it in and out of there. I just snap it, grab it, and I'm ready to go. And then it's easy to put away again. This is kind of a almost one-handed operation all the way. There's another fun little trick. You can combine this with the leash to make sure that you don't lose your phone, and I would definitely recommend that. But a hair tie makes kind of a nice impromptu tripod making device, kind of like this. You can take it and put it through, if you've got this kind of daisy chain front on your pack at all, put it through so that you've got ends coming out both sides of that. All right, and then feed the phone into both sides. Now this is going to be a little bit tricky. The hair tie is barely long enough to reach here, but I can go in like that on one side, like that on the other, and now I have kind of a chest harness, if you will, for the iPhone. If you learn how to activate your phone and shut it off and everything with just buttons, and you can keep those buttons clear so they don't get pressed inadvertently. This actually can work really nice. You can actually use a hair tie in the same way to strap it to something like a little tree branch, a hiking pole, or this part of your backpack, so that you can use those things as tripods when you want to take a photograph of a group and have yourself be in it, but not have selfie arm effect. So that's one way that you can get your phone on. If you have it with the little leash that I showed you earlier in here, then it's tethered just in case this thing somehow manages to drop out, but it's pretty tight. And this would be one way that you could do a no hands, film as you go down a rappel. Now onto the real workhorse of my Canyon videography, and that is an Insta360. Mine is the X2. This is kind of an old one, but this thing is just an amazing tool for getting videos inside of canyons, and not just getting the video, but getting it in ways that are fun and add some variety to your movies. So fun things about this camera: one, as I said, it's a 360. You can see it has a fisheye lens on both sides. Fisheye lens on both sides, meaning it is getting the entire field of view that surrounds the camera at all times when it's turned on. And then in post-processing, you can take that and make basically track along with ultra wide angle, narrow view, whatever. The possibilities are pretty endless. It also can do things like time lapse. Slow motion, to give you speed variety. So this thing has been a ton of fun. It's quite small. It's mountable on lots of things, but I'm going to tell you that you want a selfie stick for pretty much all shots. I always take the selfie stick and drill a hole in the bottom, put some Dyneema cord in there. They come with some leashes, but they tend to be weak looking. I want something that is not going to fail me, and so this Dyneema cord I know is trustworthy. I like these kind of hard foam cases. I modified it a little bit with some plastic tubing so that this is easy to clip to with the carabiner for added security. The case itself is pretty tough. You can see it's been scraped up by going through sandstone and so on, but it's easy to get on and off with the zipper. I like a stick this one's about a foot long, and it extends to about 4 feet long, and that gives you a ton of options. You can do kind of a third person angle by putting it over your shoulder. You can hold it straight above you. You can hold it out to the side. You can do sweeping shots. You can do overhead, come down on people shots. You can throw it around and have something to grab back onto as it comes to the ground. As I'm mentioning all of these, let me just say that all of these things are done with a bit of a risk-benefit analysis. You have to decide, am I comfortable throwing this thing in the air and trying to catch it in the environment that I'm in right now? Am I comfortable going down a rock face where there are fisheye lenses sticking out that I really can't protect aside from keeping them away from the rock in the first place? And of course, it's a fairly water-resistant camera. It's supposed to be rated, this one, I believe, to at least to 20 feet. And it's never let me down, but again, I can't speak for everyone here, and it's kind of on you to decide how hard you want to push your gear to get what you want. If you were to look closely at this, you'll see that there are some scratches on the lenses where I've pushed it a little too far, and I've knocked it up against rock faces. I find that unless the scratches are really big, they are not optically very problematic to the videos that are still coming out of this thing. The brand new version of this, by the way, the X5, has replaceable lenses, which I think is a great idea. This one does not. Let's talk about carrying options. One that I used early on and I don't use as much anymore is I created a side channel in this pack that I could run that stick down into, and then I could pin it here with the elastic and even lock it in with a beaner to keep it safe. That's a good spot if I'm really worried about the environment that I'm going through. The downside of this position is that I can't really reach it. This is on the side of my pack, and I basically need to either take the pack off or ask somebody else to get it out and put it away for me, which I really don't love. So I have a second attachment option that I use a lot more often now, and that is on the front. I know this is a loaded up strap. I know we're dealing with things like snag risk in Class C environments, and those are, again, decisions that you have to come to about how much snag risk you're willing to put up with. What I use is this little Night Eyes beaner. Tends to work well. And then I have a hair tie that I sewed onto the bottom of my backpack strap, and that goes around the case. And this is fairly secure. So this is fun because I can wear it through the canyon, and as I'm just hiking around, it stays there. It doesn't wag around too much, and it's really not in the way. It's also really easy to get to. I can just reach over, free that. Sometimes I don't even take it off of here. I just extend it, remove the case, wave the camera around. But if I need to, it's easy to just unclip it and do what I'm doing next. And then it's easy to stow it without really interrupting the hiking process or the canyoning process very much. So that's my favorite carry mode for this thing with the stick on it. For a couple of options with actually taking video, one is to get an overhead shot, let's say. I'll bring it down just for the sake of example here. But you can either put it inside the pack or in some kind of a side channel. Either one gives you a similar shot. So if I'll try to run it down maybe near my back. And a lot of backpacks are gonna work for this. Just, I take it, tighten up this cinch as tight as I can, more or less, and then it's just kind of sticking up like an antenna out of my backpack. This gives you a nice overhead shot and can work while you're on rope. Hazards to be aware of with this: if you are using a retrievable anchor system like a toggle stick, you do not want this thing to get wrapped up in the pull cord. So I tend to not use it very much in that kind of setting unless I know that I can get the pull cord well away from me. I won't use it like this if I'm going to be anywhere near the pull cord as I rappel. Also, because it's up behind me, there are certain places where this just doesn't work well. If I have a rock wall behind me, if I have a lot of trees to move through, something like that, then this is not the option that I'm going to go with because I don't want to bash up the lens. Another nice hands-free attachment option is to use a carabiner on the opposite side of the camera. In my case, the right, because I want the camera out on the left. I don't want it in the way of my brake strand as I'm rappelling. And then I'll put it through that smaller carabiner so that it doesn't wiggle around as much. That's why I don't want the big carabiner on that other side. But it kind of limits the amount of wiggle room that it has. The further I can pull this stick out, the better of a perspective it tends to give me. But if you pull it way out to 4 feet, you are going to have a lot to deal with if you're in a narrow space. And you're also going to have more of an entanglement risk if you are using a pull cord. So please be careful with that. One last effect I wanted to share is bullet time, where it's filming in slow motion and it's going to focus on the center of what the camera is spinning around. What it requires is that you have to extend the stick out as far as you can or want and then swing it. I just put one of these beaners on it, hang on to that, and you better hang on tight because if you let go of the camera, it's going to fly off who knows where. But the idea is to swing it above your head about 1 revolution per second as you do whatever it is you're doing. It actually looks pretty cool if you just do it while you're standing there in a cool place. but it's really fun if you do it while you're jumping and flying through the air.
Okay, so I hope at least some of those are useful to you, and I wish you the best time out there capturing and sharing your canyoneering adventures.